Okay, before I start, I wanted to recognize Laura Rebo. I'm not sure who's heard, but Laura passed away unexpectedly on May 7th. She was a regular CPC contender, always sat over here. I just wanted to say, Laura dedicated many years of service to the Eastern Area Communities Planning Committee and to the CPC. She worked tirelessly, I can't say that right, tirelessly, not only for her own community, but in support of communities across San Diego, whether through letter writing, attending city meetings, or seeking time to ensure community voices were heard. Laura was passionate, direct, and never afraid to speak her mind. She challenged people and ideas in ways that made us all better. For me personally, she was our iron sharpening iron. As David Modi noted, Laura was a regular presence at CPC for at least 17 years. Her dedication to public service, thoughtful planning, parks, infrastructure, and community advocacy left a lasting mark on San Diego. Our communities are richer because of Laura's contributions and poorer without her presence going forward. On behalf of CPC, we extend our deepest condolences to her family, friends, and all who had the privilege of serving alongside her. She will be greatly missed. Given Laura's longstanding dedication to CPC and her unwavering advocacy for her community and communities across San Diego, I'd like to dedicate tonight's meeting in her memory. So if we could just pause for a brief moment. Okay, thank you, everyone. I didn't have this planned, but if anybody did want to say something, I don't want to prevent them from saying that. I do have a busy schedule tonight, so please just let me know if you want me dying to say something. If not, hopefully I spoke for everybody, for Laura and how much she'll be missed. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and call the meeting to order tonight, and the very first thing we need to do is we do have some modifications to the agenda. City planning has asked us to add an update for a general plan maintenance fee onto the agenda, and then I do want to do one change in the order of agenda items. So the plan is to add, looking at the agendas, we have item 1, 2, 3, and 4. We'd actually like to use item number 5, add that as the city planning general fee update. And then item 6, I'd like to change that to the land development code, sound level ordinance. And then item 7 will be the officer election. And that will then lead after that to our reports to the CPC. So if everyone is okay with that modification, I guess we need to do all of it. Yeah. We can do an all vote, like hands raised, if you agree with modifications. Aye. And then if you're online, please raise your hands on your.
I see Adam.
And keep those hands up.
Adam and Lynn online.
Okay, Adam and Lynn online. Okay. All right, thank you. Are there any nays? Lynn, put your hand down unless that's a nay. Or Lynn might want to say something. Okay. And yeah, any abstentions? Okay, we will go ahead and accept the modification of the agenda. So after that, we are looking at roll call. And in this roll call, I need you guys to be really specific because tonight is an election night. We need to know if you are representing your CPG, number one, especially if you're new, we need your name and we need you to identify that you are going to be the voting member for your CPG in tonight's election. So I will be calling the roll, and then if you will answer with your name specifically and that whether you are the representative that's voting in tonight's election, and then the election committee will be reporting that so that we know who's all here and who's voting for what. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and begin with Fario Logan. Carmel Mountain Ranch. Carmel Valley.
Got Jeff Fadian, and I will be voting member.
Okay, Encanto.
Sage and Paula Folding, I'll be voting.
City Heights. Claremont. College area.
Robert Montana, I'm voting.
Del Mar Mesa.
Kevin Bagley, and I'm the voting member.
Thank you, Kevin. Downtown.
Gary Hewitt, I'm the voting member.
Thank you. Eastern area.
Lynn Edwards, I'm the voting member tonight.
Okay, thanks, Lynn. Greater Golden Hill.
David Swearens, voting representative.
Kearney Mesa. Jeff, you need to, there you go.
Yeah. Jeff Salen is here with Kearney Mason. I am the voting member and chair.
Jeff. Kensington Talmadge.
David Modi, I'm the voting member.
La Jolla.
Lisa Friedman, I'm the voting member.
Thank you, Lisa. Linda Vista. Midway. Mira Mesa.
Bo Gibbons, voting for Mira Mesa.
Thank you, Bo. Mission Beach Precise. I did get an email from them. They might be joining later. A new chair. Mission Valley.
Stephen Leonetti, chair, voting member.
Can you spell your last name?
Leonetti.
Thank you, Steve. Okay, Navajo.
Kevin Sullivan, voting member.
Normal Heights.
Paul Coogan, voting member.
North Park.
Roger McClish, voting member.
Sure.
McClish?
Can you spell your last name?
Yeah, MCCLISH.
Thank you,
The
Roger.
second C is capitalized.
Okay, gotcha. Good push. Okay, Ocean Beach. Which I'm expecting.
Yeah,
There you are.
Andrea Schlageter here, voting member.
Thank you, Andrea. Old Town. Otay Mesa.
Alec is showing me voting member.
Thank you, Alan. Otay Mesa Nestor. Peninsula.
Bert Wall, voting member.
Rancho Bernardo.
Vicky Touchstone, voting member tonight.
Rancho Penasquitos. San Pasqual Lake Hodges. San Ysidro. Scripps Ranch, Victoria Labruzzo, voting member. Serra Mesa. Skyline Paradise Hills.
Don Houston, voting member.
Thank you, Don. Southeastern. Tierra Santa.
And you're voting.
Say the name again, please, sir.
Yeah.
HETTINGER, Jim.
Okay, Torrey Hills. Torrey Pines.
Adam Gavanther, voting member.
Thank you, Adam. University
Darren Esposito, voting member.
and Uptown.
Scott Case, voting tonight.
Scott. Okay. All right, thank you, everyone. Roll is taken care of. We have quorum, and we are going to move on to non-agenda public comment. With non-agenda public comment, any comments that are made need to not be on the agenda. And you will have 2 minutes for the public comment. So do we have any non-agenda public comment? Jeff?
Thank you. So just a couple of quick things. Tonight, in fact, right now, the city is starting its neighborhood homes for all of us workshops. If you don't know what that is, once again, it's a way of trying to put 4-story buildings, 6,000 square feet or whatever in single family neighborhoods, bringing back SB 10. One of the things that's happening is the designs for this are all happening in a closed technical advisory committee. And we have no idea when they're meeting. Those meetings aren't public, and one of the things that we've urged the city to do over and over again is to have some representation from the community in those meetings. And in the spirit of having a seat at the table, at a minimum, CPC should be able to designate somebody to be attending these meetings. So I hope you guys take that to heart. The second thing, just real quick, the city council did vote on SB 79 implementation. It's gone through a second reading. It's now adopted. There's been a lot of, I think, disinformation about what really happened. Essentially, the city adopted what you proposed, with the exception that no sites will be eligible when it goes live until Sandag does its work to produce a map. It was always true that Sandag had to produce its map to really have the formal program in place. But there was some urging by Stephen Whitburn to allow 48 more bus bike lane stops to be eligible for SB 79 on Elkhorn Boulevard and University Avenue. That's based on trying to pretend that bikes are applied in the vehicle code of California, and it should be pretty clear that bikes aren't buses, vans, carpools, or taxis or anything of the sort that is allowed in those lanes. So whether this gets all the way to a legal fight, but at some point CPC may want to also entertain a letter affirming that bus bike lanes are not eligible for inclusion as SB 79. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, anyone else? Yes.
I have to get up.
Sure.
I just wanted to.
It helps with.
I found it interesting that presentation tonight is at the CPC meeting tonight is the first, what's it called?
Neighborhood home for all.
Yeah, neighborhood home for all that happens on the night that we all meet, so I thought that was interesting. The second thing I'd like to say is I'd like to thank Eric Law and United Communities. They put together a really beautiful, they got CBS over to Radio Towers and they did a really nice presentation. So I just wanted to shout out, well, thank you. And still don't know when the appeal is. Haven't heard back from Martin and it, but sure.
Thank you. Thank you, Sage. Okay, any other public comment? Yes.
Normal Heights for Smart Growth, in conjunction with the CPC, is doing a economic development forum for the mid-city communities. And this is designed to get input from academics and business representatives for bolstering economic development segment of the community plan update for mid-cities. So this would include people from academia and so from startup capital. And basically the idea is to have a panel of these four individuals. They have to have a conversation about how to enhance economic development mid-city without disrupting the diversity and or over gentrifying that environment. So that's occurring this Friday, 6 p.m. over Zoom. And if you're interested in attending, I can get the URL to you.
Okay, thank you, Paul. For those of you that are new, some of this might sound fragmented because these are ongoing things that have been going on for a while. So it would be great for you to do a little bit of reading. CPC has a website, www.sdcpc.org. And on it, we try to include all types of letters we've sent out, presentations we've done here. Everything that happens here, we try to have it representative on that website. So if you're new and you're kind of wondering about some of these things that are being said, please go, to the website. And it will give you a litany of places to look for really information. Also, please ask any of us that have been here for a while. So what Paul's talking about, we do actually have an ad hoc committee that is representative of CPC with the Mid-Cities Communities Plan update, because the city is doing it differently than normal plan updates. And so CPC is involved because they're not doing the typical plan update per community planning group. So we've been trying to work with the city, and CPC came alongside to help them navigate and get the mid-city plans, so that representation of each community group is what we have there. And there's other things like what Sage just mentioned about the radio towers. That information is on the CPC website. And Jeff, yours is new enough that we probably need to get it on the website but it's on the city's website, or neighborhood homes for all of us. So that's a big thing that's coming out. So, and then SB 79, which Jeff also mentioned, that's gone through a whole big long thing of stuff. So that is all, our letters are out there. Anything CPC's done is all out on their website. So that's for all you newbies, welcome. And with that, we are going to move on to, let me make sure I'm not forgetting anything, the approval of the minutes for April 28th. Those of you that were here April 28th, and if you reviewed the minutes, if you were not here, unless you talked to the person who was here and they've approved them and you're approving them for your CPG, that's fine. If you aren't, please just abstain and note that you weren't here or you weren't aware of what transpired. But otherwise, I'm going to go ahead and call the roll for the approval of the minutes. Actually, I'm going to ask for a motion first for approval of the minutes, and if there's any changes. So move, College Area. Second, okay, Mission Valley second. So College Area is first. The only thing that I questioned on the minutes that I saw was who was it that was assigned ad hoc committee for a seat at the table? Or was it a seat at the table? Who was that? That was Matt Driver, right?
Yes, okay.
But was there somebody else? I thought there were two people that were interested in the ad hoc committee. I felt like there was one missing. Does anybody remember? Was it a seat at the table? Sorry, I should have just looked at those again. What? Yeah,
That's separate from the,
there were two eyes.
that's separate from the community planning.
The seat at the table was gonna be an ad hoc committee of CPC. And we were looking for committee members, and I couldn't, you had just on there that, what did you say about it? Yeah. Here it is.
Matt Driver and Jeff.
Oh, it is in there. Chris Nielsen. Oh,
Yeah.
okay, maybe it wasn't. Is there any other? Oh, no, here, the nomination committee.
Oh.
That was Jeff and Kevin. Right, Kevin?
Yes.
Yeah, so we were just missing your name, so wrong item. So just, so my amendment suggestion is to add Kevin to the election committee noted on the minutes. As amended, second as amended. Okay, then we're gonna go ahead and take a vote to approve the amended minutes, adding.
Southeastern's entered the meeting. Jasmine represented.
Oh, okay, Jasmine entered Southeastern. Okay, let me make sure. Jasmine, okay, I'll make sure. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and go forward with the minutes approval. Carmel Valley,
Yes.
Encanto.
Yes.
College Area,
Yes.
Del Mar Mesa.
Wasn't here, abstain.
Okay, Downtown,
Yes.
Eastern Area.
Abstain. Not here.
Okay, Greater Golden Hill,
Yes.
Kearney Mesa.
Abstention.
Okay. Kensington Talmadge,
Yes.
La Jolla,
Yeah.
Mira Mesa,
Approved.
Mission Valley,
Yes.
Navajo,
Yes.
Normal Heights,
Abstain, not here.
North Park,
Stay, not here.
Ocean Beach,
Yes.
okay. Otay Mesa,
Yes.
no. Peninsula,
Yes.
Rancho Bernardo,
Yes.
Scripps Ranch, yes. Skyline,
Abstain.
abstain, okay. Southeastern,
Yes.
Tierra Santa,
Abstain.
not here,
Right.
okay. Torrey Pines,
On Zoom.
Adam? You still there?
Sorry, I was muted. Yes.
Thank you. University,
Yes.
Uptown,
Yes.
all right. Thank you, everyone, that motion passes. Okay, perfect, thank you, that motion passes. All right, our next agenda item, and this is Andrea, I'm gonna be giving this over to her, she's on Zoom. I don't know if she has, Andrea, are you just speaking, or do you have something you want to share?
Hi, yeah. So I'm currently calling in from Dirty Birds.
Hold on, Andrea. Hold
Yep.
on. We've got some, just let me, if you're on Zoom, please make sure you're muted. Okay, go ahead, Andrea. No, you can unmute, Andrea.
Okay. Hi. Yeah, I'm calling in from Dirty Birds Ocean Beach, where we are currently having our 50th anniversary party for the Ocean Beach Planning Board. I don't know how many of you know this, but Ocean Beach was the first planning board ever formed in the city of San Diego 50 years ago, and Frank was just giving a rundown of the history. We had the county registrar,
Andrea.
do.
Andrea's actually.
Sorry, I'm finally getting to speak. Okay.
Oh.
Hey.
Andrea's the president of the OBPB Chair. We will.
You see me? Yes, I'm zooming in. Thank you. Hello. I was just telling CPC a little bit about what Frank was saying, that we were the first planning group ever established in the city of San Diego 50 years ago. And the county registrar was actually the one to monitor those elections, which is crazy because that makes CPGs so legitimate, right? And now we're just left to manage our own meetings, manage our own elections, and it just seems like another way to make our voices a little less strong. But if I know anything from this community growing up here and advocating for it for the past decade since I moved back from Boston, I know that community is the fundamental building block of democracy. And if we don't have community and we don't have persistence, then we will not live in the society that we want. So it's important for us CPGs to keep our heads up. I know that we demanded this change and we got it, and we can continue to demand change, demand our voices be heard at the city level, and they will listen. They will eventually capitulate. So keep persistent, keep on them, and never give up. And hopefully in 50 years, I will be here giving a speech to all of you still. We'll all be here 50 years from now. But all right, I just want to change. See if I can turn my camera. Or okay, everyone went.
Oh, wonderful.
I want to go to there.
Great.
So I'm sorry I couldn't be there for the meeting tonight, but we are celebrating something really important, and I hope everyone continues to fight the good fight for all of their CPGs out there. So thank you guys. I'm gonna turn my camera off now.
Okay, that was great. Who knew that? Who knew that they were the very first planning group? Okay, handful, that's pretty good. I didn't know that. 50 years ago. That's a long time. Okay, everybody, thank you so much. All right, we are gonna move on then now to our addition for the city planning department. They're going to discuss an action item about a general plan fee update. So listen very carefully. I'm gonna have them introduce, I've already.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Thank you again for the opportunity to be on your agenda today. My name is You can hear me okay? Yeah. My name is Alejandra Gabaldon. I'm Deputy Director in our city.
We need your slides for the Zoom.
Oh,
You do? Okay, let me bring it up.
Sorry.
Sure.
Sorry.
Okay. Oh, no worries.
Zoom folks.
Oh, perfect.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you. So, yes, my name is Alejandra Gabaldon. I'm Deputy Director in our City Planning Department, and I oversee our division that handles all of our budget, fiscal, and administrative side. I'm joined online by my colleague Scott Mercer, who is our program coordinator, who oversees our fiscal budget team. And together, along with our strong bench of teammates, we've been working on this item. So what we're bringing forward for you today is to share an update information on a proposal that we have to update our general plan maintenance fee. Next slide, please. Yeah. I'll start by just telling you a little bit about the fee, provide you with an overview. So this GPMF supports all of our long-range planning efforts. It keeps our general plan updated. It helps us update all of our community plans, our land development code, and zoning regulations. So in essence, it provides funding for some of our core and essential city planning functions. This is something that is authorized by state law, so we are actually, all cities throughout the state of California implement some type of GPMF. Our current fee right now is a flat fee. It's $737 per permit application. So when we say it's a flat fee, is that it's $737 regardless of the size, scale, or complexity of the project. And it's charged at permit application. So at the beginning of the project. So really the ones who pay this fee are developers or anybody who's advancing a project, be it in their business or their home. Now, the reason why we're bringing this forward, the last time we updated this fee was actually last year. We took it to our city council as part of the city's override kind of city user fee update that's done every 3 to 5 years. And at last year's meeting, there was a lot of robust conversation and dialogue with city council. So a lot of the comments that we received prompting us and directing us to come back again this year, the conversations were around cost recovery percentage, the revenue that was being brought in, but also centered around what they characterized as an equitable fee. Meaning having us explore a fee that would be developed commensurate to the size of a project. So we were directed to do so, to come back, and this is what we have been working on. So as a reminder, the GPMF helps support our department's work program, and because our work program, well, we all know that there has been like budget impacts. It becomes even more important that we have more of a sustainable revenue stream to allow us to support our work. Now, what we are proposing is, again, to move from a flat fee of $737 to move towards a percentage or a surcharge on what would be all applicable fees that are currently paid and will continue to be paid to the Development Services Department. DSD. And that surcharge that we're proposing is 11.25%. Again, this surcharge would be applied to primarily plan check fees, permit fees, and various administrative fees. What we're calling to be all applicable fees that qualify under the criteria of GPMF. And just so you know, when we bring forward the report to council, there'll be a very clear list that defines what the criteria is. And all of that is reviewed obviously through the legal lens as well in compliance. This slide is just to remind all of you that we do have our department's work program. Currently, we are working to wrap up our FY26 work program that I believe all of you are familiar with. We are also going to be releasing our next work program, the FY27 one, towards the end of this fiscal year. So it's ready by July 1st. It will be on our city website. We'll also make sure to, make it directly available to all of you and then provide you with an overview, if you would like. And again, this is important because, this GPMF fee, is a critical component of helping us fund that work. So right now, the revenue that we are generating per year at our flat fee of $700,000 is $6.2 million. And as I mentioned, that is paid upfront at permit application. What is being proposed to create a more equitable fee, and also to increase revenue and a little bit of cost recovery is, an 11.25% surcharge, as I mentioned. And after that is fully rolled out, we're expecting it to bring in $7.5 million worth of revenue. So we're looking at about a, $1.3 million increase. And the reason we're saying is when it's fully implemented is because whereas the flat fee is paid upfront in a permit application, this surcharge is going to come throughout pretty much the life of a project. Some projects may last 1 year, some may take 3 years, and depending on the complexity, there's different fees that are paid at different times of that project. So that 11.25% would be added to whatever that fee is that is currently paid. So while the first year, we don't anticipate to see an increase in revenue, it's going to be coming a little bit tight to what we currently have. We will be having enough revenue to sustain our operations, but then again, as we're believing that in year 3, we'll go ahead and be able to get the full $7.5 million worth of revenue. So what we did is to give you an example of what this means to an actual project, to translate it in real terms. We pulled projects straight from our city system, the Acela system, and pulled some sample projects. As we can see here, kind of as expected, right? A smaller project can see that fee, which is currently $700,000 to go down, and a larger, more complex project for the fees to go up. So I don't have to read all this to you, but like top line, if you're looking at an R&D facility of 200,000 square feet, we can see how the fee will go up commensurate to that project. We'll also see how a smaller tenant improvement for a restaurant or even a home will go down from the current 737, and so forth.
So,
Yes.
what are you basing that off of, like this price per square foot or? the total
No, we're
cost?
not, and I'll go, and we have this another slide. No, it's not based on square foot. Again, all of this, the way it's being calculated is based on the type of fees that a project currently already pays in development services. So it's not by square foot.
So is it the total cost of the projects of a homeowner or somebody's gonna put an ADU, it's $100,000 ADU in their backyard, is it 11.25% of that, so I'm confused.
No, it won't necessarily translate to a straight up 11.25 increase to the current cost, because it's based on like applicable fees. And if you'd like, what I can do is after we conclude the presentation, we can be more specific to give you examples as to like the type of fees that the surcharge doesn't apply to and the fees that it does.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
So-
have a lot of questions. Let's let her conclude.
No, but that's fine.
And then we'll open up all the
My
questions.
question will respond to this slide, so.
We can come back.
Please come back.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes, we'll answer that. And like I said, the report will also have a very clear list of that material, which will become very clear, again, understanding what the GPMF is meant to fund, right? Okay, next slide. What we did is we did benchmarking against top 10 large cities in the state of California, and we reached out to them. Top line, what we're proposing is generally aligned with other jurisdictions, specifically closer to what the city of Los Angeles, San Jose, and also Fresno. As you can see here, currently where we have a flat fee, we're the only ones along with Bakersfield. The majority of the cities go ahead and use a variable fee, which is a surcharge on plan checks and permit fees, which is what we're proposing. And then Sacramento's kind of an outlier. That's a variable fee based on the percent of the building permit valuation. We opted just not to do that for, obviously, it's not aligned with benchmarking, but it's just, that methodology would just be extremely complex to apply. And it would also make it very difficult to predict the actual cost of the fee and also the revenue. Okay, next slide. So, moving forward, we're here this evening. We are going to be bringing this item to the Land Use and Housing Committee, the council on June 11th, and then, take it to City Council most likely in July for the new fees to go into, or surcharge to go into effect in the November timeframe. Prior to coming here this evening, we have made presentations to the Chamber of Commerce, the BIA, and NAM. And with that, we are open to any questions you may have. I know that already
We'll start with Robert.
Thank you. So, number one, I don't like, is the comment, I guess, not a question. I don't like the fact that you omit a new build of an ADU and you do list an ADU home garage conversion. So I think you need to add a new home ADU in somebody's backyard. Because that's, it's the most controversial project type, and B, it happens a lot. So to omit it is an error. And then the project is being presented as a way of being more equitable, but your samples don't support that. If you take I'm looking at three lines down, residential multifamily development, 400 units, gonna pay an estimated fee of $22.5. Well, you divide $22.5 by 400 and you get $56 per unit. And an ADU home garage conversion is twice as much. So I don't know how that's equitable. And well, I think you really need to think more carefully about the data you're presenting.
So
it doesn't support your case.
If I may, just a couple of things. These are just meant to be general top line examples. So it's not, meaning to omit anything, just give somebody top line. In other meetings that we have had, we have been requested to add a couple of additional examples. So we'll go ahead and make those additions as well. And then, again, you can see the arrow that goes up and down. So just because you see that number, doesn't mean that that is like the specific
That's
cost.
like a minimum 22.5.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's a minimum and to go up, exactly. So again, these are general numbers from the samples that we took. But again, every project is going to be different. But yes, those are what the arrows mean. It doesn't mean
But
stops at that.
So there's no legend saying what the arrows mean, and English words, or more, or less, I think would serve better.
Okay.
Sure. Similarly, on your slide 2, I think this, you have the list of, I think it's previous. Let's go back up. I think it might be slide 2. Next one. Has to do with the discretionary. We'll go back one. Yeah, there we go. Okay. My first question is, how does the general maintenance plan fee support? This is supports long-range planning efforts to maintain general plan and community plans. How does this fund support community plans?
Community plan updates. We use, so in our department, we have a variety of different funding sources. We get some money from the general fund, about 50% from this fee, the general plan maintenance we are very successful at securing grant funding. We get some from, admin fees. So, if you look at our work program, our current work program, and even, going back and also moving forward, the majority of our work, all of our community plan updates, the zoning updates, the work that supports, our general plan updates, all of that long-range planning work, anything under that umbrella.
Okay, so it's the,
Exactly.
it's the planning work, not the
Exactly.
execution.
Exactly, so it is, our staff bills
Okay,
towards that, so it directly supports all of the work that qualifies under GPMF by law, and it helps fund our staff.
okay,
And it also helps, fund the, we have really great staff, unfortunately, again, with budget impacts, we had a reduction in staff, but very qualified staff that were able to do a lot of work in-house. But the GPMF also supports, us contracting, consultant technical expertise that we do not have in-house that is needed for every single community plan update and for our general work.
okay. The list of items that were the plan checks, discretionary permits, and most city planning projects, I think that might be the next slide. No. There it is. Okay, it says applies to plan checks, discretionary person. Why discretionary permits and not also ministerial permits?
Yes, I'll go ahead and ask my colleague Scott Mercer, who's on the line, to please answer that. Scott, did you hear the question?
I believe that the question was, yes, I believe, Scott Mercer here from the City Planning Department. So if you're familiar with the Development Services Department, information bulletins that basically have the various, fees that are charged. If you're familiar with bulletin 501, 502, 503, those are the various plan check fees and permit fees that are really required in order to build things in the city. So that's the in a simplistic terms, those bulletins contain the list of fees that are applicable to the surcharge. And I believe that answered your question. If I did not quite answer it, you can clarify a little bit for me.
Sure, I'll give you an example. I'm going to build a 5/1, 20,000 square foot complete communities project. And I'm looking at paying $2.5 million in DIF fees, and then also all the usual fees for plan check and fire department, the whole laundry list. Am I also going to pay an 11% on all of those fees, or am I exempted because I'm ministerial?
So the DIF fees are not subject to this at all. It's really just the plan check fees. Okay, so again, when your project comes into intake and development services, and they assess the type of project that you're building, and then they determine the various disciplines, the various types of plan checks that are required associated with that project. That's really the lion's share of what we're talking about is that type of fee. It's not the DIF. It's not inclusionary housing fees or anything like that.
But the 11.25% does apply to my plan check fees, even though I'm under complete communities.
Yeah, whether or not you're in complete communities has nothing to do with the project. What's affecting your fee is whether or not you have plan checks associated with your project. Because the plan checks are essentially the nexus there is that the plan check work is really the way that the various disciplines are interpreting the general plan. Okay, the general plan is codified by all the rules that govern how a project has to be constructed. And those plan checks are kind of essentially relying on the existence of the general plan to do that work, and that's the nexus, right? So that's it. And again, if you're getting to the nitty gritty, if you're familiar with information bulletins 501, 502, 503, that's really the meat and potatoes of what we're talking about.
Okay. I think-
Okay, I'm gonna move to La Jolla.
Yes, your permit fees and your plan check fees just went up this year. Do you know by how much? Because what we're experiencing.
I believe development services fees went up 7.25%, just this month.
Yeah, just like last week. Because they've just gone up, this year alone, it's almost 40%. So when you have a building permit for a residential property, along with a coastal development permit, that with plan check fees and discretionary permits and entitlements and all those used to be about $75,000. Now we're hitting upwards of $125,000. So now instead of just that 30 or 40%, depending on the different department, you're putting another 11% on it. And it's very unique that you say that there's just, you don't put a residential, that's the meat of what people want developed is residential properties, right? We have a housing shortage. So, and I also don't understand the delta between your expected revenue of being 6 million to 7 million, but you have deltas there of something that was paying $750 to now paying $22,000. So that delta doesn't make sense. The revenue, that just doesn't track.
One of
The two
the,
things.
right, as I mentioned in the presentation, because the current flat fee is paid upfront, we have kind of that level of certainty because all of this is driven by the permit activity, right? That comes in on an annual basis. So we have a baseline. But now moving forward, it's no longer 737 and right up front, we may end up just collecting a small amount. And for the larger projects, those fees won't come until maybe a year and a half in, sometimes 2 or 3 years. So that revenue is going to be coming at different times in kind of that 3-year cycle.
But it still doesn't take out what you're saying. I mean, you're gonna, some of these are grandfathered in as you get going. By the time you have most projects take, 6 months to 2 years.
It's
right?
going to be moving
And then you're
forward.
gonna have all that.
It's going to be for any new application when the fee goes into effect, so not anything that's already in the field. And while I can appreciate kind of your thinking, I assure you that we ran the numbers and this is what.
So that $22,000.
If you're talking like a single ADU, and again, it's going to be a function of the complexity of your plan check, but your typical ADU project is going to have a fee, of $100 to $200. Again, it could vary. It's going to vary depending on the complexity of the plan checks associated with the project. So it's not like an ADU costs X amount. Again, it's a function of the complexity of the plan check work, not so much how many ADUs per se, right? So for one ADU project, it might be $100. For another one, it might be $200. It all kind of depends on the details.
Yes, I understand, but if you're talking a jump of your permit fees just this year. And what
again, let me just to put that into comparison, the current fee for the ADU is $737. So again, smaller scale projects are going to pay less. Larger scale projects are going to pay more. Okay, but again, a simplistic project is going to pay less than the current $737.
I understand that. That's not the question. The question is that you've already you're basing this on a percentage of permit fees and plan check fees, right? And those this year have gone up 30-40%. Right?
That's a question for development services, but yes, generally, yes, you're correct. I mean, fees are going up in the city. Yes, that's correct.
So
but again, the whole gist of this initiative is to replace the flat fee. So again, let's go back to the math. A single ADU project today is paying $737. A developer building a 24-story office tower or with 400 units is paying the same $737. So the whole gist of the proposal is to base the fee on the complexity of the plan check review. So if you have a project that has a very simplistic plan check, such as like a residential, or you're remodeling your bathroom or something like that, your fee might be $20 or $50, something like that. As opposed to today, it's $737. The same $737 that the developer of a 400 unit building is paying.
Scott, thank you.
Yeah, that's all very clear, and I think a very good approach. My point is that the plan check fees and the permit review fees for the typical house that we do were, if you're about 60,000, or you're about 75, 80,000 if you're having a coastal permit, because that's a big delta. Now we're upwards of $150,000 to $175,000 and it has a coastal and not. So my point is, you just increased that by 30 to 40%, depending on what thing, and now it's increasing another 11. So that delta of the proposed fees it's not accurate.
Let me ask you this: when you're looking at your fees, are you counting inspections?
No.
Yeah, Scott, hold on. We've got other questions that need to be answered, and people patiently waiting. And I think this particular situation needs to go more in detail and depth and give us more examples. So let me get a few other questions answered. And then we'll see, just for the sake of time. I want to go ahead and go to Greater Golden Hill. David?
Just mostly comments rather than questions, and thanks for the presentation. It did clarify quite a bit, but it seemed like, first comment, wouldn't it be more transparent and simpler to simply, once again, update fees rather than have a extra process and implement with the surcharge? First comment. Second comment, I'm also concerned, as the other member was, about the apparent exclusion of ministerial projects, especially as by decision the lion's share of are such projects now, and you should either eliminate the qualified discretionary or add ministerial as descriptors. Otherwise, it would be reasonably construed as intent by decision makers and staff within the implement program.
Okay.
I think that's misleading.
Thank you, David, for that comment. I'm going to take an online comment. Adam, go ahead.
Yeah, thank you. I just had a quick comment and observation. And I appreciate what you're doing. I think that it needs to be equitable, and there is an inequality with the fee structure. But my question has to do, if we use the 400 unit apartment complex as an example, $22,000 in fees for that equate to, I don't know, maybe 150 man hours of work. And I wonder, why should the city be charging more to review a project than the applicant is likely spending to prepare the amendment in the first place? And so, at least that's just my sense as someone who has done general plan amendments, and that's what we're referring to here, are we not? I'm not sure who that question is for, but there just seems to be $22,000 for that particular type of project doesn't seem right. I understand there's a need to pick some standardized percentage because that would facilitate a way of making these fee increases, but it may not be equitable. Just my thought, 2 cents, whatever that's for.
Thank you, Adam. I'm going to go back into the room. Uptown.
Discretionary. I think your language would be that maybe perhaps say process 1 through 5. I think that would clear the air on that one.
Thank you.
And then just a question about the plan check fees. So if you're building plans, you need to keep going back in for more review. And you're getting charged for more and more review. That 11.25% is being applied to the total fee of the plan check if I have to go through once, or if I have to go through 5 times and incur more costs. Right, so that 11.25 is based on the total cost that someone is paying for their plan check fee.
They just changed that too.
And so is that 11.25 applied to the whole cost if I, it's gonna be lower if I go through once, but if I have to go through 5 times, to get my plans approved and all the
Now it's a
questions
fixed
resolved.
fee.
I'm sorry?
Now that is a fixed fee until you go through 3 rounds, then they'll start charging you more.
Okay, but the 11.25 applies to the whole 3+ round, right?
I don't know.
Okay.
That's part of my question.
Yeah,
That's
right.
I believe I don't answer, but let me go ahead and get back to you on that, only because there are like so many nuances of this. And if I may just make a comment, I absolutely hear the questions and the concerns. Thank you for the input on how we need to explain this, so it actually provides the clarity that we wanted to explain. And then also just know that when you see the report, when it goes to committee, all the attachments, because there are so many fees, I mean, there were 999 that we scrubbed through line by line to make sure that it actually applies to the GPMF, like legal intent. And we also scrubbed it to make sure that, is it already a fee that's being paid somewhere else? So for example, all the diff fees, or if there's like an hourly review, or if it's something electrical that doesn't fight, we deleted that. And as Scott mentioned, we further reviewed it to make sure that the way we captured those fees fully aligned with the bulletins, so that way we're speaking the same language. And the attachment, you'll be able to very clearly see what that was. And like I said, a smaller project, some of these fees won't even apply. For the larger ones, yes, it will, but it'll end up being in the larger scope of the totality of how much each large project will cost. We're talking about like a, 3% increase total. So just to put this in perspective, but noted, and we'll go ahead and make those
Okay, I'm
additions.
gonna go back to online, Jeff, Sal, and Pretty Mesa.
Yeah, I'd just like to note that I'm 100% against this additional tax. It doesn't seem that there's anything that is preventing the city from increasing the plan check fees to begin with. We've seen that increase year over year. I don't see anything here that stops that moving forward, nor do I see anything that prevents the 11.25% fee from increasing to 12, 13, 14, or 15%, or even higher moving forward in the future. I see the city as nothing but killing development, and this doesn't seem like it's going to help anything, personally. I'd love to know what the planning department's doing to make processes more efficient internally, rather than looking to the developer to always charge a tax.
Okay, thank you, Jeff. David, do you have a?
Going back to what.
That was a direct question.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought that was just a comment on how you felt.
No,
about it.
I would love to know what the planning department is doing internally to make processes more efficient, rather than always looking to the developer to tax a higher fee. Guess that answers my question. Next.
London Code is every day, we're always looking at efficiencies, and we'll be happy to go ahead and provide the group with some listing and information of not just our successes, but specifically to the efficiencies that we have successfully implemented and what we're working on to speak.
Can you name one efficiency that has improved this year?
You want to speak to the?
Well, I don't know the whole length. Hey, Jeff, it's Marlon, Penguin City Planning. I don't know all the length and breadth because I wasn't working on the land development code updates, but the whole purpose of that update process is to streamline process efficiencies throughout the municipal code. Those are always identified by developers, applicants, and members of the public to help facilitate the development process of the city. I mean, that's the main one we can point to. We could certainly go back to the office and kind of identify additional efficiencies for you, but that's pretty much the catch-all because it spans all aspects of the municipal.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna move back to the room. Jeff, I want to make sure we stay on topic here with what they're actually presenting. So David, you have.
So if you're going to probably to your orange box here and relating back to what David and Paul said, I think the presentation might benefit from sort of a small short primer at the beginning that more deeply explains this orange box and which box these things are applied to, which are not, and how much they kind of tend to be. And then I think some of the concerns that people had might be assuaged when they have a little more definition by that. And I think in particular, when you get to city council, you live deeply within the world of fees, and you get to the city council where they don't. This might save you some heartache at city council if you have a more visual explanation of what the surcharge applies to and what it doesn't apply to.
Thank you, David. Chair Simon.
I got a bunch of questions, but kind of following on what David says, so all this comments you made implies that this is kind of tacked on at the very end, like the day you get your permit, is that right? Because effectively what he's saying, and what I was saying as well, is you go through plan checks, if you get a really bare plan check, you go through 4 or 5 cycles, and you're just tolling and tolling and tolling this 11.25%. Right? Am I right? I mean, that plan check, I don't like the way you label this in your plan. You go in for another plan check, and that's, as opposed to used people like do it over the counter, get it done. Now you can hardly get anybody to talk to you down there. That's just the way it is. But regardless, you go through 1 or 2 more plan checks, and you're just change 11.25% on top of, plan check fees, which I guess are told in the work order account, right? I assume that's what you're
And
talking.
I made a note to look specifically into that, so I can just be 100% accurate in my response to you and those who have raised that.
Yeah, I have a couple of real quick questions. So this is in lieu of the 737, right?
Correct.
Okay. All right, and so the other question is, maybe hard to project the exact dollar figures, but does any of this go into the city? The city's doing their budgeting process now. Does any of this go into the budgeting?
You mean if any of this money goes back to the city's overall general fund?
Does it go into the budget planning in any way?
No,
shape, or form?
the revenue that is generated from the general fund maintenance fee comes to the city planning department for us to go ahead and do our work from our work program that we post for those parts that, again, apply for that. So that money comes directly to us for us to do our work, and it represents, about 50% of our department's budget. Like I mentioned, we get money from the general fund, from grant funding, from DIP. So this money does not go to somebody else in the city.
So
It stays for our work, for the benefit
So
of the
it's kind
community.
of cost recovery, I guess.
Right, so, our position, a lot of council discussion last year, where some council members wanted it to be 100% cost recovery. Our position as a department is that this fee is not meant to be 100% cost recoverable, and that we also don't have legal grounds for that. So both in our benchmarking and in the benefit that is derived to the developer, and also the benefit derived to the community for our work, we're looking at a cost recovery rate anywhere between 68 to 75%. The $7.5 million that we're looking at, when that is, when that comes to fruition, that would represent 68% cost recovery. So it's not 100% cost recovery.
And again, this upfront, this one, you actually pull your building permit or.
Correct.
Whatever.
So you would go ahead and pay a little bit upfront, and then as you go ahead and go through your project, depending what those additional fees are, again, applicable fees, that's when you pay. So it's spread out.
The whole process.
What's a little?
It's spread out through the process of your project, lifespan.
Okay, Peninsula?
Okay, so, you have no excess revenue generation,
No, sir,
so no return to general fund?
no.
Is that explicitly stated anywhere?
Um,
Are you seeking a code change, or is this merely, administrative change to 501, 502?
this is an administrative
Okay,
change to our fees. So, yes,
how do you align your fees? Because this is not cost recovery. Cost recovery is permit fees, because that's fee for service. You're talking about cost recovery where the general fund doesn't fund your activities, and that's revenue. That's not cost recovery. Just to be very explicit about the budgeting terms. So do you have an explicit statement of what this fund, this excess fund covers in work? So there's a box around what you're,
Okay,
what you're
so,
funding.
so I'll say first, I don't characterize, it's not excess fund. Second of all, yes, our report and our budget and everything, when we say what we use, the general plan maintenance fee, it's very explicit what it's used for. And on top of that, we are also, grounded and bookended by legal requirements of what this fee is meant to fund, and also how we define our work program, right? So that goes back to our methodology and then also the legal criteria.
Where is that spelled out? Because it's not parameterized. Have you got a cost study that supports that?
The report that is coming to council is our methodology, is us cost of service. It will have the attachments that explicitly states all of that, both by law, and it also will explain how we derive the cost of our actual program, right? And that becomes the baseline on how we then determine what the cost recovery rate is. So we go through every single line item of the work that we do as a department, and we reviewed every single one of that, what we call internal orders, to see if it actually directly advances and supports long-range planning, our general plan, community plan updates, all of our zoning regulations, everything that is meant to be like that type of long-term planning related. It doesn't fund, other tasks. So that is explicitly stated, absolutely.
Okay,
That's the methodology.
we don't have a lot of time left. We do have 2 more presentations and an election to do. So I know we can keep going with this. The one thing I do want to say is that you have this as an action item. So I'm not sure, and maybe somebody can help me, what kind of action are we looking for on this item from CPC? Because this is something I know you want to go next to planning, and then city council. So I don't know if we're your first group in this regard that would vote on something, make a motion to,
The other presentations we make to stakeholders have been an informational item.
Okay.
And they have, informally, they shared with us kind of their support and where their position and their understanding of it. So Marlon, if I look to you, I don't know if you have any thoughts on that, on the actual action or, yeah.
Are we looking, for CPC in their action, are we looking for support or just a comment? Or information? So if we want the latter, then we're not requiring an action tonight, but if the rest of management wants to get an action, then
Yeah,
we would.
I would say at this point, your comment and input, certainly what you provided today is incredibly helpful as we finalize our report and we frame it. And then, this will then be going after we take it to LUNH in June, we would be taking this to council in July. So I don't know your schedule of meetings, but we could certainly.
is this something that you could come back to us on before it goes to planning? You've gathered a lot of information and a lot of questions so far. I'm gonna give one more question back there, but is this something that we can revisit even this is May, June, we're.
Fine. But happy to come back and present again, and then also obviously share with you the report, and I believe that the report and all of that will also help inform.
Okay, yeah, because I think there's still, it seems like a lot of unanswered questions, and I think it would be hard to make a motion.
It's a complex issue for sure, and especially if you want to get into like the granularity of what the fee applies to.
Well, and
yes, understood.
This is the group.
No, understood. Yeah.
Yeah, what you have?
Yeah, so I want to make a quick comment. I think, one thing, aligning to benchmarks across the state is not a bad thing. And normalizing getting away from the flat fee is also good for non-developer homeowners, that especially younger families that want to update these older homes, which is pretty much all that's left when it comes to a single family home. That $737 is like a no-go. That's when people don't permit projects. They end up getting narked on for unpermitted projects and they pay a lot more in those fees. So doing something like a sliding scale is actually doing right by homeowners that can't necessarily afford a big project. So I actually appreciate a percentage of versus a flat fee. I know I'm gonna wait on my projects until you make a change. But I can see where we can get lost in the details, but I think when you think about your neighbors around you that want to beautify and make their own homes aesthetically pleasing, that benefits everyone. So just looking at it from a different angle, I think, don't forget that part for non-developers.
Yeah. Okay, so what I think I'd like to do is, I know there's still more questions, so what I'd like to do is have the opportunity for you to put those questions and comments in an email, send them to Marlon. And that way, if you didn't get your questions answered or your comments or what have you, it will go to Marlon that he can then press on to the rest of the planning department. And then maybe the next presentation will get a lot of those answers. So I appreciate everybody, the time we've spent on this. We still have a lot to do, so.
So she agreed to come back next month
Yeah, right?
before city council and yeah.
Before city council, maybe not before planning commission. You have on there, I mean, if there's any way to, it just seems like, it just seems like with this schedule, you've given no real room in here for this type of, you know, like come back and answer questions. All of a sudden, June, you're already at land use and housing.
Yeah.
And our next meeting will be towards the end of June, and then you've got city council July, August. So if there's any way to gap in between or push land use and housing to July, come back here in June, city council in August, you can still maybe stay on your effective November.
Noted. We'll look at our schedule, but absolutely, we look forward to receiving those questions online. We'll respond to those. I'm confident that with not just the details of the report and with the additional input, when you see also the report and the presentation and the attachments that will go to LUNH, I'm confident that will go ahead and answer a lot of your questions, and you'll be able to see, again, why we lead towards something that's equitable and still not 100% cost recoverable, and put the numbers in perspective. While the percentage may seem like alarming when you look at it in the whole scheme of what that translates into, like dollars and the overall percentage of the cost of the project, it really is not. Again, I don't want to minimize that it's extra money, but that.
Don't you think it would have been more productive to have had that information present at tonight's meeting rather than wasting everyone's time?
Okay, okay. No.
Back with all the information.
Thank you. Okay. All right, thank you very much. I appreciate the presentation. And we are gonna go on to our next item agenda here, because we have downtown, Gary Hewitt is gonna do a presentation. There's a possibility that there was a land development code update item that we may have missed. And so he's gonna go ahead and give us a presentation that downtown has discovered. He presented to his CPG, and we took a look at it, and the Land Development Code Update Committee said, yeah, we should take a second look at this. So I'm gonna turn this over to David. Thank you.
Gary Hewitt, the chair of the recent chair of the downtown planning group. So I'm gonna do a quick presentation and open to any questions. Go to the next slide. So this is just a little background on the noise ordinance, just to get everyone up to the kind of the same level here. So the municipal code sets the maximum noise level at the property line for different types of uses. The highest being kind of the commercial mixed use. This is what most of downtown is, 65 decibels at the property line. And just for example,
hello there.
Oh. Is it the owl?
Yeah.
So kind of just an idea of kind of what that is. It's kind of like office noise inside a car, 60 miles an hour. And then for indoor noise, it's 45 decibels. Actually, I'll show that in the next slide here. But so why does noise ordinance matter? It's really what you use to cite noise issues. So when people file complaints to the cities about bars, kind of venues, and it's really what the CEQA mitigation is all about. The EIR says the project slopes shall comply with the noise ordinance. This is the table that's looked at. All right, next slide. Okay, and then, other important thing is that people bring up a lot is, hey, there's temporary increases of noise, so, for example, a crowd cheering at a bar or something like that, singing happy birthday, that's gonna exceed the decibel limit, but, the sound, on the previous slide, those decibel limits are what they're called average hourly levels, so you can have a situation where it's 65 decibel average, but you'll have spikes above that for things like, a loud truck going by, a siren. Fireworks are specifically written into the ordinance as being exempted if the city has approved fireworks. So that those might go for 20 minutes or so. It might exceed the noise ordinance, but they're just occasional. All right, next slide. All right, and then this is kind of how noise mitigation works. So California Title 24 requires that interior noise for residential be less than or equal to 45 decibels in habitable rooms. And so that's going back to the earlier slides, that 65 decibel level is kind of what happens at the property line. And then buildings can then have mitigation measures, things like double pane windows, sealed structures and things like that could lower the decibel limit. And just for examples, people always ask me this question. So this is kind of what, from where you guys are sitting, that's about 45 decibels. So imagine sitting in your home and hearing that, and then that's 65 decibels. So at 65 decibels, it's harder to have like a conversation. And you can imagine trying to sleep
At the property line, is the property line of the people making the noise, or the property line?
People making the noise. All right, so without ordinance limits, this is an example that what I would show with my phone. So 85 decibels at the property line, and then it gets to a building. You still have that 20 decibel drop because of things like double pane windows, but you can only get to 65 decibels. And that exceeds the Title 24 by 20 decibels, which is considered uninhabitable. And it's actually, if you guys can hear, 45 decibels versus 65 decibels is 4 times the limit. Also, at 85 decibels, if you have your windows up, then you can get 85 decibel sound coming into your home. All right, next slide. All right, so let's talk about what item 11 has in it. So this is one of the 134 items, I think, that were in the land development code update. So I said I'm the new chair of downtown, and when we look at the land development code, there's kind of two pieces. There was a downtown specific one and a citywide one. We focused our review on the downtown one, and this one is actually the citywide one. I think that's why we may have missed it. So the current ordinance language says it's unlawful for any person to have a noise that extends above that table that we looked at earlier, average over an hour. And then this is what was added. So it says, unless the use or activity is otherwise authorized by a special permit, development permit, or other permit or agreement approved by the city manager or designee. So that's this language here. It's copied out of the staff report. And so basically this is a pretty blanket exemption. It could be for really any project. And we'll go to the next slide. I'll talk about some of the reasons I think why we may miss it. So the staff report and some of the earlier tables talked about that this was a clarification for times where noise may temporarily exceed, talked about that, specific situations. And they also, one of the things is the land development code update has to be able to prove those and doing any additional environmental analysis, they have to basically tie it back to previous environmental documents. And for this particular one, it was assigned to the blueprint SDPEIR, which doesn't have anything in there about reducing or not allowing for exemptions in the noise ordinance. All right, next slide. So the exemption as written really has no guardrails. There's no ceiling on the decibels, no duration or time limit. So for example, there's the word project. So you could say this project, this concert hall, this bar, restaurant could basically exceed the decibel limit for the life of the project. There's no geographic restriction, no public notice, no required findings, and no appeal process. All right, next slide. All right, and then just getting back to why this is important in terms of kind of environmental impact. So all of these EIRs find that there are unavoidable and significant noise impacts. And the way that those are mitigated is by adopting those measures like double pane windows, but also enforcing the noise ordinance. And so by making item 11 kind of open to staff interpretation, that kind of all the mitigation framework collapse. I'll say like in downtown, we have a lot of development coming online. Things are really close to each other. And really to make downtown habitable, we have to have reasonable noise limits. All right, next slide. All right, so the Victoria mentioned, we brought this up with our planning group, so we're writing a letter to the city council about this right now. We kind of got to this late, so this was has had its first reading, and we'll get its second reading probably in June. And so what we're asking for is to pull this one particular item out of this year's land development code update, rework it, and bring it back with some of those guardrails we talked about earlier. And some of the things I would like you guys to consider is taking an opposed position. Right now, item 11 is not opposed in the CPC action they took, and I would request that you change it to oppose. And then also consider sending a letter to the city council requesting that they take it out and then bring it back next year for consideration. So, available for any questions.
All right, David.
Oh, sorry. I'll turn to you.
Yeah, no worries, David.
And I think I should speak first because I was on the code update subcommittee that reviewed the 100+ items. And yes, we did miss this. I mean, I think we looked at this and said, noise has not been something we've seen usually abused, and we had 100 other items to focus on, and so we didn't delve into the particulars the way that we've seen tonight. And I think there is grounds for a change.
Okay. Paul?
Normal Heights, where we overlook Snapdragon Stadium. We've had numerous noise complaints from our citizens and they've measured even 85 dB continuous from events happening at Snapdragon, and they've been told that's state managed property, the city can't do anything about it. So I'd like to see how the city can maybe work with SDSU West, since they were partners in building it, to provide noise control for these events that go on well past 10 o'clock p.m.
Yeah, and just a note on that is that so there are like I just know about downtown. I'm not sure about the Snapdragon example, but like the Rady Shell and the waterfront park, the one next to the county, they both have active noise measurements where they have staff on site that measures the noise and will have it reduced if it needs. So that's something that's probably, I would assume that's in the EIR for the Snapdragon Stadium, because I saw their noise study and it shows the impact. So that's one thing that you can go to that one. And just another point, just because in downtown, we brought noise complaint issues for city facilities, and they've basically, it was code enforcement of noise was taken out of the budget this year, and it was put to a category called alternative compliance, where you're encouraged to contact your neighbor first.
Yes, that's also the case for fences.
Okay, I'm gonna go online to Kathleen Callahan. Go ahead, Kathleen.
Well, thank you so much. I do live in the downtown area, but I've been working as an architect for about 40 years. And I've come to expect that the building codes and zoning are designed to protect the health and safety of the public, or at least in the public interest. But this is de facto elimination of the noise ordinance, compromises the health and well-being of many individuals and entire neighborhoods. I think as your other speakers have mentioned. I think the lack of mandatory agreed upon rules will be exploited by concert providers, bars, restaurants, and rooftop venues in every neighborhood if this passes. I do respectfully request that you note clearly in your statement that the intent of the ordinance and the misleading presentation to the public must not only be opposed, but unequivocally condemned. And that's my comment. But I want to thank you so much for the time and the work that you do. It's extraordinary. So that's it. And thank you so much for listening to my comment.
Thank you, Kathleen. I'm gonna go to Uptown.
I sit on the Airport Noise Advisory Committee, part of the airport authority here. The FAA has a program where they actually pay to help silence homes, that if you're within a 65 dB contour, okay? And they have those contours, recognizing that it's very unhealthy. So I think it's common sense here. And I'd encourage the board to write a letter, just sending our support for item 11.
Okay, thank you, Robert.
Yeah, and coming from the college area, this is huge. I mean, noise has always been a problem for us. And I want to go ahead and support his motion. I would like to move support as you articulated. You probably have to repeat yourself. Oh, there you go. And, yeah, we can't be having, I mean, if a citizen complains about a party happening on the balcony of a high rise, and then somebody downtown can say, well, we're just gonna waive it for that particular high rise. That doesn't work for us.
Okay, I'm doing 2 more comments and that's it. So, and I've already got one in-house here.
So is this going to be?
Oh, I'm sorry. That, you did motion, didn't you?
Yeah.
I apologize.
I support as articulated.
Okay, and Vicky is second the motion. Okay, sorry, apologize. Going back in-house, yes.
Are you showing this to the city?
So my planning group kind of gave me authority to present this to the city at their, because it's gonna come back to city council. My understanding would be maybe on a consent agenda. And so it's probably pretty hard to get it pulled at this point. So, but I plan to
So if you do, I would just ask that college area be added to the list of.
Yeah.
It's probably not an exhaustive list, but it is majorly impacted like these other areas. Also, as I think I'm hearing it, this is also neighbor to neighbor noise. So, I mean, the commercial stuff, I get that, but also now you can't tell your neighbor or you can't call or what have you, and you're subjected to super loud music or parties.
Well, I think it, you know, Vicky brought this up a while back. There are developers that are building hundreds of development, homes. We have a situation in the north area that the developer was building at all hours of night and there was all kinds of noise. And this eliminates this because if it is it's an approved permitted project, that developer now doesn't seem to have a limit to when they can stop and start their noise.
Yeah, I think that would have to be approved as part by somebody in the city would have to approve that. It wouldn't be like automatically all projects get it. It would be like, there would be like an action that would be like, all right, this project, the rooftop depth can exceed the decibel limit or something like that.
I think still though, what you have here regardless, so the point is in neighborhood environments, whether it's a project or it's your next door neighbor, I just think this right now reads as it's just commercial noise. And I think to really bring it home to everyone who will look at it, this could affect you in your own home.
Okay, so, I'm going to, let's see, the requested action is number 1 and number 2. So number 1, all you're asking us to do is change our office to oppose that particular land development code update and then send a letter requesting it to be removed. With that verbiage. Is that, Robert, what you basically said? Is there any other verbiage that we want emphasized?
Does it,
Yes, Jeff.
does this include, surprise, like in our case, Torrey Hills, south of Carmel Valley, got a Pfizer building in, 6, 7, 8 stories that they said they never looked at in a public meeting. But now all of a sudden there's parties going on the top deck 12 hours of the night. Will this mitigate that sort of thing? Because it's a residential area.
Yeah, so the way that I would read that is if the building owner in that case could apply or get some kind of permission from the city to have that exemption, that exemption from the 65 decibel limit. they could say like, we want our roof deck to be able to exceed 65 decibels. They convince someone in the city to go along with that, and then they could do that, but it's probably not permitted right now.
Does it go on until 10 o'clock, something like that?
I mean, there's different, earlier there was some hourly, it's different by hour of the day, but it's typically like, it drops down to 60 decibels after 7 PM.
Okay, I'm just gonna move on. One last public comment. Janet, I'll go ahead and ask you to unmute, and then this will be our final comment before we need to vote on the motion.
Thank you. My name is Janet McDaniel. I'm a downtown resident, and I really am opposed to item 11. It's really clear to me that that noise ordinances are created for a reason, to protect the health and well-being of residents who can be seriously harmed by these high exposures to big sound levels. And so there's a really concerning proposal. I'm glad to hear the conversation, as I also heard it in DCPC, that this regulation, this proposal just kind of slipped in, and it should be opposed. But not only as I listen to you thinking about how to oppose item 11, I really hope that with your interest, your citywide interest in this, that you'll figure out a way how to not only write a letter to city council, something like that, but how to actually get this off of the list of approvals that are going through the changes that are being proposed to the land development code. Because as Gary Hewitt mentioned, this got slipped in without I'm going to say misrepresented, but at least it kind of got in there as kind of funny, or not funny, but it just didn't get a good vetting. Let's put it that way. And so how can you get it off of the development code at this point in city council? I really hope you'll follow up on that. I thank you very much for all the work that you are all doing, and thanks for the opportunity to speak.
Okay, thank you, Janet. Okay, I'm not going to take any more comments at this time. Thank you for the presentation.
One other thing is, if I do present this, I might send an email to Victoria asking for some time seers or something to do it, so I can get a full presentation. So
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So we are going to go ahead. We have a motion and a second on the table here, and does everybody understand the motion and the second, which is right before you? So we're going to go ahead and do our voting. So as I call your planning group, please give me your vote. Starting with Carmel Valley.
Yes.
Encanto.
Yes.
College area.
Yo.
That was a yes.
Out.
Del Mar Mesa.
On Zoom.
Oh, Zoom. Del Mar Mesa.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Downtown.
yes.
Eastern area.
Yes.
Greater Golden Hill.
Yes.
Pretty Mesa.
Yes.
Kensington, Talmadge.
Yes.
La Jolla.
Yes.
Mira Mesa.
Yes.
Mission Valley.
No.
No. Navajo.
Yes.
Normal Heights.
Yes.
North Park.
Yes.
Ocean Beach. Andrea, you still there?
On Zoom?
Yeah.
Yes, she's on Zoom.
Andrea?
Okay. She's at a loud party.
Yeah, I just figured she might have that party. 65 decibel. Okay. Otay Mesa.
Yes.
Peninsula.
Yes.
Rancho Bernardo.
Yes.
Scripps Ranch, yes. Skyline.
Yes.
Southeastern. Jasmine online.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank
Sierra
you.
Santa,
Yes.
Torrey Pines.
Yes.
University.
Yes.
Uptown.
Yes.
Okay. What's that? Oh, Andrea, are you there? He's probably distracted, so we're gonna have a no vote on it. Okay. Not a no vote, I said, yes, I mean, didn't vote. Not present. Not present, that's what I meant, not present. Didn't vote.
24-1.
Okay, so that passes, and we will get to that as soon as we can. Thank you very much for that vote. And we are now moving on to the officer election. And at this point in time, I will be turning this over to the election team of Jeff and Kevin and let them go ahead and explain how the officer election is going to work. Turn it over to you guys.
Okay, thank you. Let's see. Bear with you.
Oh, they'll have to,
You want to connect Jeff to the screen up there?
or you could. I can, Jeff, if you need.
Can you, oh yeah, let's get that, give it to us. Reach. Should. Yeah, don't use this one.
No, sir.
Chili beanie.
Look at that.
All right. Briefly, we're gonna, just go through the steps that we're gonna take today for the voting and the nominations and the voting. We did send out a notice of election about a week ago and a sample ballot. We did already go through the verification of who's voting for which, community planning group. Pretty soon after we're done with this summary, we're gonna open up the floor for nominations. And then we're going to create, when we're done with that, close the floor nominations, we're gonna have a master ballot that everybody will see in this room for their in-person voting, as well as on Zoom for the remote voting. You'll all be looking at the same master list of nominees, if you will, and you'll be filling out a voting ballot, which will have one blank for each of the 3 offices. And then when we're all done, we'll count everything up and announce the winners.
And for those in Zoom, they are going to vote via chat.
Yes, I haven't got to that part yet.
Okay.
For those in the room here, we'll be doing in-person voting on paper ballots. We'll put them in the ballot box. And then after that's done, we'll do remote voting where the people on Zoom will conduct a private chat directly with Kevin here, Kevin Sullivan, and tell them their votes for each of the 3 offices. Let's find out matching.
Wow.
Pretty fun.
We should do it this way all the time. There we go.
All right, this is the final ballot that you'll take. What I want to do here, if I can get this working, is to get to the nomination part. And let's see, I'm doing wrong thing. There we go. All right. Now this is, we've had people, sign up and be nominees. before tonight. And we have one person, as chair. We have, I guess, 4 people for vice chair and 1 person for secretary. And now we can open up the floor for, floor nominations at this time. Does anybody want to nominate, both at home, on the Zoom, and also in this room, for any of the 3 officers? I'm not seeing any. Is there any at home on the Zoom? Okay, I'll close the nominations and we'll begin the voting.
We can have them present the nominations, the nominees.
I should do what?
Were you gonna have anybody speak to their?
Oh, yeah, I forgot that. All right, and part of the deal is all those being nominated, you can give a 1 or 2 little minute talk on why they'd be good in their position, why they want to be in this position, and how they can help out the CPC. So we'll start with Victoria.
Well, I appreciate nomination. I've appreciated this last year that we have been through a lot of city stuff. I think we've done a lot of work together. We've done a lot of CPC meetings. We've done a lot of city council meetings. And I've enjoyed representing the CPC and our communities as much as possible. So I would enjoy continuing to do that if that's what you would like. So, yeah, it's not an easy job.
No.
So I'm kind of wondering why it's blank after me.
Anybody else is what? All right, thank you. For vice chair, we'll start with Eric Law.
Thanks. I love working with everyone here. We do fabulous work. I think we're getting better, year after year. Sometimes it's month after month. We're getting better. And the folks at the table here are absolutely wonderful. Some of the things that we've dove into are stupendous. I've been part of the Land Development Code working group a couple of times here, and I've been part of the group that did the grand jury complaint. Over and above what we do here, and I've been deeply enmeshed with this work, but over and above that, I'm the CEO of Protect Point Loan, which is a housing involved nonprofit on the peninsula. I am part of the leadership group along with Scott in San Diego United Communities. You can see some of the work we're doing, as Sage was talking about earlier, and some of the things this committee cannot do. But we can, and banding together across the community. And I also sit on the board of directors for the San Diego County Taxpayers Association, doing some of the deep analytic work and seeing some of the stuff that we published recently. I'm sure it was on the front page of the San Diego Union Tribune, and has caused a little bit of consternation. I hope to bring some of that complexity and deep thought to the work that we do, or continue to contribute to our works. Thanks.
Thanks, Eric. David.
Thank you, everyone. First of all, I want to thank Victoria for the great work she's done, and I hope to, if I were vice chair, to assist her in that work. My background is I have involved in at least 10 updates to the Land Development Code. I'm well acquainted with the bylaws of the CPC, having revised them back in 2016. And with that, I have long longevity with the Community Planners Committee. Going back to the point of also prompting the creation of the Utility Undergrounding Advisory Committee to bring planning groups into the work of the undergrounding process. And I would appreciate your vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Lindsay.
Hi, everybody. I'm Lindsay. My name is actually supposed to come off of this. I'm gonna wait a year or two and then maybe go down this road with all of you guys. But in the meantime, I sit with Robert representing college area, and I do some stuff in the eastern area. So there's some needs there.
We take you off then.
Yes, please. Thank you.
Stephen is remote.
I'm
Right.
I'm right here.
Right here.
How you doing?
Under.
So hey, I'm Steve Leonetti, Chair of Mission Valley. I'm just interested in being more involved in the city planning. I think Mission Valley has a lot going on and a lot to offer, and I'd like to continue having a voice and just having a role in the planning of Mission Valley. From my personal side, I'm the owner of San Diego School of Baseball, and then executive director of San Diego Baseball and Softball Foundation. So we work with a lot of youth sports, just the type of things. So just very active in the community and just that's it, right?
It's good. Thank you. And Paul.
Hi, thanks. I kind of stumbled into this thanks to David Monty because you pointed out that that there should be a position called the secretary. So I stepped into that. I think Marlon has been doing a bang up job of taking the notes and minutes and doing all of the bureaucracy that is surrounding the job. So I've kind of found my space in more of a CTO position, helping with the technology setup so that we can have virtual meetings and storage and website and so on. So certainly willing to continue doing that as long as I'm chair. Oh, and this is the German spelling of my name. Everybody knows it.
I'm getting you back for not helping me with my technical issues. All right. All right, then, I guess we can close the nominations and get on with the voting. And let me hand out the paper ballots. I'll go this way. And I can under. You only get one. I have extra pounds and pounds of. What are the rules to vote on? Yeah.
Thank you. Surcharge.
No, you're good.
Doesn't have a ballot box.
Thank you so
Get your seat back. Oh, yeah, well, thank you. Glad you told me we're from.
Jeff, I have a box over there.
I got my own box.
He's got it.
Oh,
He's got a box. Dick, oh,
that doesn't get out.
Anybody need a pencil?
No, I just need you to come on the pipes and do this for us.
Then you fold your paper ballot in half when you're done. You hand me that box.
Delmar, please vote on chat.
Who's collecting? He's got a ballot. He's got a box. Okay. I'll be around in a second. Have to vote.
You're gonna tally them tonight, like with us here?
yeah, they're gonna tally them, and I think while they're tallying them, we may go into the next agenda item, which is really reports. So Marlon will give his report, so.
Don't forget.
A few more minutes, and once we.
Just put your name and your CPT on
No, it was not, it was my home extension.
Yeah, Kevin Sullivan.
Yeah.
I'm voting for everyone.
Oh, yeah.
How many vice chairs are there?
The nominations, the names of the nominees are on your screen.
No, I get that. I'm just asking how many vice chairs are there?
One. You have to vote for one.
Okay.
Nine.
Are you gonna put the voice information on the website? Yep. Okay, thank you. I'm gonna put all the PowerPoints on the website. Okay, thank you.
For the people online, I can appreciate that you're voting for one person as vice chair. But if you only vote for vice chair, I don't have votes for president and secretary. Community really came out for.
President and secretary?
Yeah. So you need to vote for those positions as well.
Cheers.
Well, I don't see those on my ballot.
Yeah, so Victoria LaBrusso is the candidate for president. Paul Coogan, chair, and Paul Coogan is the candidate for secretary. If you'd like to vote for them.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Or you can abstain.
Kevin, can you continue chatting with them to get their, okay.
I'm trying to do it, but I can't get all this stuff up at the same time.
Okay. If everybody's okay, we're gonna move on because Marlon has some comments, yes? But he does need this back. All right, let's, oh yeah, you also need that, so. Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Let's take that back. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so Marlon, I'm gonna go ahead with staff report next. We are gonna.
This is my last will and testament. So I have no worldly possessions typically. But
Those
as
that are
I
online.
compose this letter on cardstock smuggled in the Freedom Camp.
Thank you. All right.
All right. Hi, folks. I've got two updates for y'all. The first one is on infrastructure priorities. You will remember that we do this every year. So I want to kind of re-up that direction to provide to you. So this is, well, not so much a preview, but this information shared with me by our kind of capital improvements infrastructure staff and department. The infrastructure priorities process is the city's annual opportunity for communities to help shape future infrastructure investment needs. We are currently in the community input phase of the process. During this time, community planning groups and individual community members can submit ideas for infrastructure improvements they would like to see in their neighborhoods. For this process, we are looking for capital infrastructure projects, meaning physical public improvement projects that would typically require planning, design, engineering, and construction. Examples include new parks, sidewalks, traffic safety improvements, mobility projects, recreation facilities, or stormwater upgrades. This is different from operational or maintenance requests like trash pickup, routine repairs, or landscaping services. The focus is on long-term infrastructure investments and projects that would generally require project development and construction. City planning collects and organizes the input through surveys, community outreach, and the community planning group spreadsheets every August. The information is then forwarded to the appropriate asset managing departments. Here AMDs, but I'm just going to call them asset management departments. The asset managing departments review the submitted ideas alongside factors such as project readiness, infrastructure condition, funding availability, operational needs, technical feasibility, and existing priority scoring systems. The departments then use this information to help develop their infrastructure plans and funding outlooks, which ultimately help inform the city's capital improvement program, 5-year outlook, and future budget discussions. After the review process is complete, the city publishes a public report summarizing input received and how projects were considered within the planning process. You might have seen this spreadsheet. This has kind of been revamped since we last provided it to you guys. City planning is currently requesting input directly from community planning groups. Each group will receive a spreadsheet template where you can identify infrastructure projects and priorities within your community. The goal is to better understand what capital improvements your community would like the city to consider as departments prepare future infrastructure plans and funding outlooks. We encourage groups to focus on projects that address community needs, infrastructure gaps, safety concerns, mobility improvements, recreation needs, or other public infrastructure priorities. A constant contact email with the spreadsheet template and supporting materials will be sent out later this week. We are requesting that completed spreadsheets be submitted to the public spaces email address by August 1st, 2026, so the information can be included in the data package sent to the asset managing departments for their review and consideration. This process helps ensure that community planning feedback is formally documented and shared directly with the departments responsible for infrastructure planning and implementation. And then in the last slide, we also wanted to provide a few helpful resources. Again, this presentation will be provided to Victoria. She'll distribute to everyone. A few helpful resources that may assist community planning groups as you review infrastructure needs and discuss project priorities. The first resource is the Infrastructure Priorities Engagement webpage. This page includes the Public Infrastructure Survey, prior year's project ideas submitted by communities, which include past spreadsheets from community planning groups, previous annual summary reports, fiscal year 2025 report, with input that has been received in August of 2024 will be posted in the next month. Additional information about the engagement process is also on the webpage. And then community members can also submit ideas individually through the online survey throughout the year. The next resource is the City Capital Improvement Program, or CIP website. The CIP map viewer allows users to see active and planned capital improvement projects throughout the city. This can be a useful tool for understanding what projects may already be planned or underway within your community. And lastly, the fiscal year 2027 proposed budget is now available online. This budget may include projects or funding requests that originated from infrastructure priorities identified through previous community input cycles. If projects are already included in the proposed budget, that means that they are on the asset managing department's outlook and therefore do not need to be included in your Excel sheet as a project idea. Together, these resources can help provide context as your group discusses and prioritizes infrastructure needs within your communities.
Quick question.
Yes.
If you don't submit anything, do your previous year's projects continue on, or do you need to keep repeating the same?
That's a good question. Let me follow up with the staff on that.
That's a great
because, yeah, you might have everything you probably wanted in your initial submittal, but yeah, good.
I have a related question, and that is, the template will be a blank template then?
Yes, the template will be blank. Yes, correct.
And these links, when will we be sent these? So we don't just.
I can give this presentation to Victoria as early as tonight, get it to you guys tomorrow. And then, as I mentioned, constant contact email will be going out. I believe it's everybody who probably subscribes to the CPC agenda or the planning group chairs in all communities agenda will get that.
Thank you. You said that spreadsheet coming to the community plan versus chair.
The spreadsheet,
Yeah.
we'll be getting in a constant contact email. So if you subscribe to the city's.
You said this week, I think is what you said earlier.
Yes, this week, yeah.
Oh, that's right, yeah, and due by August 1st.
Yes.
So how do we get signed up for the constant contact?
I think you're already on the chair's one, because I remember inputting you personally in there, so you'll get that, and the public spaces team will be sending out to that distribution list as well.
Sorry, when was the last time that a CIP project was?
These things are very expensive and time consuming.
It's just small, yeah, I'm sorry.
But if we don't hear from you, we don't have it on the list and the report for all the asset management departments to consider and start. So, yeah, I mean, that's the downside of these things, but.
Just take last year's.
Just take
and
last
change
year's.
the date.
Just keep doing it, just keep saying it.
It was due August 1st.
August 1st, yes.
And then the city will consider it in September, I think you said?
I think it's part of a process of review and then getting that information together for the various asset departments.
Okay.
And then you can do it again next year.
Yeah, do it again next year.
And
We wanna
then
keep
year
doing
after
that.
Yeah.
Okay, folks, we're gonna,
And then one more thing,
oh, sorry.
training tomorrow, virtual training
Oh, is it
is.
tomorrow?
Yes. Tomorrow, 27th.
Yes, tomorrow. It's Wednesday, May 27th. Now, I know that budget hearing is going on and I think there's something else going on, but some people did email me and said.
Is having a workshop.
Is that's a third thing that I heard. Okay, so you guys all have, I know, competing interests and stuff, but that's why there is online alternative training that you can take on your own that is available now on the Community Planning Group Resources website. All you have to do is watch the video. Maybe you did it already, so maybe you can bypass that, but go to the questionnaire, fill that out, and then send it to sdplanninggroups@sandiego.gov. All the instructions are on that Planning Group Resources website, and get credit for that. Otherwise, I'll see you tomorrow online on Zoom, from 6 to 8.
And you do need RSVP.
You do, we're gauging it because we asked people to line up RSVP last Friday. We have about 100 people right now. That can change by tomorrow.
It's all, that one I did, it was instantaneous.
Okay, but yeah, so there's a link on this resources webpage to register because as I mentioned last month, there were people sharing the link. And so, like I mentioned, we had like 6 Eric Laws attending the training. So we need to be able to 4. Was there 4?
It was 4.
I think it was 4, okay, 4,
Yeah.
but we can only account for 1. So we do need to do some sleuthing to try to figure out who attended. But, if we can kind of, not have to go through that trouble and everyone register, get their own link and then attend, we could see your name individually pop up. Question, Vaughn?
Question, everybody?
Yes.
Can the planning group cast do this?
Yes, existing and newly elected and appointed members. Yes,
Everyone.
every year. So that was the new thing in the new council policy when it was updated like about 2-3 years ago, is that everyone has to take the training. And if they can take it alternatively.
Receive something from you? Sign up.
Yeah, so your chair should have sent, well, guess what? It's on the Community Planning Group Resources webpage. All the links and the information for the registration is on there.
We were told if we had an updated roster, the city.
Yeah,
would
also
use
that
to
too.
send invitations, and my members didn't receive the invitations. I asked.
I gotta go and look, I got a big call. Okay, Paul, I'm gonna turn this over to Paul to do a quick ad hoc committee update and then we'll get to the election results.
Okay. Stop this share and share. There we go. I've got it. If you wanna, do you wanna just give me the record?
Well, actually, we'll figure out right.
Yeah, okay. So the subcommittee met and really kind of worked through the priorities for each of the areas and found that we do need to have a lot of cross-pollination between the four community planning groups, in addition to increased engagement with the community, with city planners. So then we met with the city planners, Alex Frost, and the two city planners that are also working on the community plan update that are specific for our areas were in attendance. And we went through the reasons that the CPG should be one-stop shopping, and that the working groups, great idea, brought in a lot of community involvement, maybe beyond what the individual CPGs would be capable of. But ultimately, they do need to come back to the CPGs for that final say, the final word of, what is missing in the plan or the changes. And we've expressed that we'd like to also get information to them before they get to first draft, so that we can reduce the amount of rework that's done by the planners as they work through getting this first draft out. Alex Frost agreed, send material to him and he would review it. I don't know how much of that will get into the final draft, but he was open to having that communication channel open. And then he did respond formally in an email that said that the planning department recognizes the unique structure of the mid-city area, that we do a community plan for 4 community planning groups, and each of those areas has their own unique characteristic and specific needs. And then stated that the CPU working group was established to serve as a supplemental advisory body to enhance rather than replace the feedback of the CPGs. So that's a little bit, the story has shifted a little bit from when we were at the land use, or
planning commission.
The planning commission. So the winds have shifted a little here for the better. And they've also decided to postpone the next CPU working group meeting in order to provide time to have the working group think about what's being put into the first draft, and then also coming back to the CPGs and other community members and community groups, including business districts, which was pointed out at the commission that they had not really talked to them. So this is the schedule here, including more frequent touch points. So we would have up to 3 touch points. First draft discussion and recommendation. And then they will do the focus groups. Again, that's not with us. And then the community open houses would also be with the CPG. And then the final draft presentation. So really there's 2 touch points within the first draft, and then coming back on the final draft. So at this point, I believe our committee is concluded.
Very good. Well, thank you, everybody, because I think it's really made a difference in the planning department. Looks like we got them to hear us, that CPGs still are the focus, should be the primary focus for these plan updates.
Yeah. Thanks. And thanks for everybody who participated, and also David brought a very important point, was that the land use component becomes set in stone, but everything else in the community plan update is aspirational and guides future CIP projects. But if we don't get the zoning right out of the gate, everything else will suffer.
Only for 30 or 40 years, though.
You're so optimistic.
Or children. Okay, election committee results.
Okay, we can announce the results. In reverse order, the secretary was Paul Coogan. Congratulations, Paul.
Another year sentence.
The vice chair was David. And the running unopposed was Victoria as our chair.
All right, thank you, everyone, and with that, we'll adjourn the meeting. Thank you for staying in place.
Oh, and leave the tables and chairs the way they are.